Tyler Jones is a Democratic consultant and a strategist who's worked on several campaigns locally, nationally, and statewide. And he's also an entrepreneur. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down with Tyler one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Well, Tyler, it is so good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, anytime. Well, I've known you for a very long time.
Sure.
And a lot of people don't know that, but you are also the founder, you're the owner, president, CEO of Speaks Strategic.
Janitor, owner.
What?
Do a little bit of everything for Speak, but yeah.
And now you're looking for a videographer,
Yeah,
which I quite need.
Yeah, hey, I can talk to you afterwards.
There you go. But a lot of people don't know, but you've worked around the state and around the country. You've actually campaigned a lot of people's campaigns, from Leon Stabernakis to former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley.
Yep.
Tell me, who else is Tyler Jones?
Man, I'm a big sports fan. I love college basketball. Be going up to the ACC tournament in a few weeks in New York. Big music fan. I love live music and going to concerts, and love spending time with my wife and dog. But politics is kind of my passion. Always has been, probably always will be. So that's sort of what I made my career from, and I enjoy it. So my firm, Speak Strategic, we're kind of half political, half everything else. We do issue advocacy, public affairs, crisis communications, marketing, and then the other side is political campaigns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about politics. What is the state of politics in your mind right now?
Disappointing. With Trump in office, I feel like our institutions have been weakened. I think locally here in South Carolina, corruption is rampant. We are in desperate need of good people running for office now more than ever, and I think we're going to get that in 2018. But normally we push our partisan politics up to the brink right before it breaks, before we do something about it. Okay. That happened in 2006. It happened in 2010, and I think it's going to happen again in 2018. And it's just disappointing, to wake up every morning. I check my phone. First thing I do, I turn over, I check my phone, and Trump said something crazy, and it's just like, man, I'm tired of this constant outrage and constant, political news cycle where something is always happening. I'm ready for the boring. I want our politics to be boring again, because that's normally when people work together and get things done.
Wow. Yeah. Well, what can you do? What can you do?
Well, there's a lot of things you can do. I'm a big advocate of redistricting reform.
Okay.
Gerrymandering, I think, is the biggest problem we face in our politics today. It allows politicians to choose their voters instead of voters choosing their politicians. Okay. We don't have general elections anymore. So, Democrats and Republicans, but Republicans especially in South Carolina, all they have to do is appease their base, and they have to be as extreme as possible, as conservative as possible, because they don't have to worry about a general election, because the lines have been drawn in a way where no Democrat can win a Republican district. And so you have the most extremes on both sides trying to work together. That'll never happen in a million years. And so the first thing we've got to do is take the authority of redistricting out of the hands of partisan lawmakers, give it to an independent commission, and I think we'll see our politics get a lot better. There are a lot of other things, getting money out of politics, term limits, that can help, but I think gerrymandering has got to be number one on the list.
And you talk about 2018, the governor's race is heating up right now.
Yeah, it is.
When you look at it, what sticks out in your mind?
I've worked with Representative James Smith for almost a decade. Right. And there is no one in this world I respect more. He's fought for our country. He's fought for our state. Right. He's a dear friend. His family is just unbelievable. And I've been trying to get this guy to run for governor for literally 10 years. Wow. And he's finally doing it. And I'm really excited. And he's kind of he's one of those kind of guys that, when people ask me, who's James Smith? And by the way, I'm not working for him.
Right.
But when they say, who is James Smith? The way I describe James is he's the kind of guy who will do the right thing when nobody's watching. People say, oh, he'll give you the shirt off his back. He will do that. But he won't see credit. He won't make sure the news cameras are watching. He won't tweet about it. He's just a good man, and we need more of that in politics. So I'm on Team James. I think he's going to be the nominee, and I think he's going to be an unbelievable candidate in the general. And I think on the right, on the Republican side, you've got a race to the bottom. I think you've got Catherine Templeton trying to be the most extreme is a very nice way of putting it, but she has just disappointed so many people with the kind of campaign she's run to try to pander to the most extreme base of the Republican Party. And then Henry McMaster, who's Trump's best friend, I think whoever our nominee is, but I think it'll be James, has a really good shot because of the year and because of just how extreme both candidates are on the Republican side. It's just really disappointing to watch, but I think it gives James a really good shot in the general.
And you were talking to Marjorie Willis, who was another Democratic candidate in the race, and you basically told her about James's accomplishments.
Yeah.
You said this: James wrote and helped pass the First Steps bill, the first early childhood education program in South Carolina.
Yeah.
He sponsored a bill that will increase road funding by $450 million a year. He didn't vote for the Base Load Review Act. He is the lead sponsor of Equal Pay Bill, and the GOP controls Columbia. Mm-hmm. What else have he done?
Oh my gosh. Well, let me put it this way. So I worked at the State House for almost 10 years, right. And my job was during session right. to help Democrats with their legislative strategy, helping push our bills forward, helping to stop bad bills from passing. And there is a good amount of apathy in Columbia where people just want to do the least amount of work and then go home. And then there are some fighters up there. There are some workhorses. Okay. There are some show horses. Every time we needed somebody to take the floor, take to the well, and speak against a bill or for a bill, or stay up all hours of the night drafting amendments to kill a bill in committee, or whatever it is, I could always count on James to be there to fight for it. And I said in one of those tweets, I said, James, takes chances on things if they're the right thing to do. They may not be the most politically advantageous thing to do for somebody, especially at the time he was doing it, things like medical marijuana, LGBT rights. I mean, there were a lot of things he was doing that at the time it was a risky move for a Democrat. Okay. He said, I don't care about that. I'm just going to do what's right. And so if you look on every issue, he's been a leader. And I can't say that for anybody else in our state or our country. And that's not hyperbole. He really has been at the forefront of every issue that's important to Democrats and important to most South Carolinians.
And I actually the wrong question, but personally, who is James Smith?
He's a rock star. And I mean that literally. He's a bass player. He's a rock and roll. Oh, wow. He's a musician, which is cool. He's down to earth. He's a soldier. Yep. He fought for our country. He protected us at a time when we needed it the most. He's an unbelievable husband, unbelievable father, and he'll make a great governor. And he's a dear friend. He's a dear friend.
And I look forward to interviewing him soon. The campaign to reach out to me.
I'm sure he would love to. I'll make a call.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. And you talk about Columbia. Obviously, there's a busload of people going up there now to talk about the big deal right now, offshore drilling. Yeah. On both sides, they're saying no to this. Where are you on that issue?
Totally against it. And both sides are, for the most part, saying no to it. But you got to think about the legislature as a whole and Congress as a whole. Okay. The Republicans who are saying no to it are on the coast for the most part. Right. McMaster is saying no to it because he knows he needs the coastal votes in the governor's race. But most legislators in Columbia don't represent the coast and are probably for offshore drilling. Okay. So same with Congress. So I'm totally against it. It is the lifeblood, the economic engine of South Carolina. It's our coast and our tourism industry. Sure. And one accident, one spill could be very, very detrimental to the economy here and cost a lot of jobs. So I'm against it, and it's good to see Republicans and Democrats fighting it. That's what we're going to need to do. I know Leon Stavronakis has a bill at the State House to ban it, a legislative bill. Hope that gets some steam. So I have a feeling that with McMaster's help, if he's really fighting for this, along with everybody else, I think there's a good shot we could ban it in South Carolina at a legislative level.
You talk about the coast. Let's go to Johns Island.
Yeah.
A place you love.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
yeah.
Indeed. You actually said this about the proposed Johns Island moratorium. You said this on Twitter, quote, "Moratoriums are stupid, but the lack of planning and leadership at the city and county levels have been even more stupid. Johns Island needed a break and a plan. So what's that plan?
Yeah, it's got to be both. That was more my one of my more Trump type tweets.
Okay.
But it's true. I mean, moratoriums don't do anything. They delay the inevitable. That's why I say they're stupid. They don't serve a real purpose. But in this case, anybody who lives or works on Johns Island, and I do both,
right,
understands that we've got massive challenges in terms of growth. If you drive down Brownswood Road, down in the middle of Johns Island, and look on both sides, you'll see brand new developments on both sides. I mean, I'm talking dozens of brand new developments, thousands of new homes going up, growing faster than weeds, and weeds grow very fast on Johns Island. We need a break, but not just a break. We need a break and then a plan. It can't just be one or the other. And so normally I'm against moratoriums, but in this case, I say, all right, give us 6 months. Let's bring people to the table. Let's update the existing Johns Island plan because it's obviously not working. And let's get a plan in place and start executing it, and then you can lift the moratorium. But there's over 4,000 homes on Johns Island in the city that have been permitted to be built. Okay, 4,000 more homes. We're already at capacity. So the break is necessary, but the plan is even more important. So I'll be at City Council today, and I'll be in support of the moratorium, but not unless it has a plan to go along with it.
What would you say to the Charleston County Council?
Johns Island needs a fighter. Johns Island needs representation. Johns Island is the only part of Charleston that does not have a home representative on any board, commission, legislative body, from city council, county council, state legislature, state senate, anywhere. We don't have anybody who lives on Johns Island that represents Johns Island. So we have people who live in West Ashley and James Island, which is fine. But there's nobody who is living and breathing our challenges every day. We need somebody who understands it, who lives it, that can fight for us. And right now we don't have anything. So have anybody. And so what we need is somebody to listen to us and to fight for us. And right now we don't really have that.
Tyler Jones, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
Absolutely. Good to see you.
Likewise.